What's up, guys? It's Migs with Market Open. I'm going to go ahead and do the midday market recap this morning. There weren't a lot of movers really this morning that I was too interested in. I did take into notice that NVIDIA had earnings. Then Amazon had released some news overnight about them getting into the shipping business, so that kind of put UPS and FedEx into play. But they didn't really quite do what I think they were going to do. So I ended up taking a couple of losses on those. But then I ended up identifying a couple other opportunities and coming back for the day. So let's get started with the first trade on the day. The first trade I took today was on FedEx. So you guys are probably used to me talking about an ORB pattern. I was thinking that FedEx was probably a overreaction on the investors that were in it. As soon as Amazon said that they were going to get into the shipping business, that automatically put FedEx and UPS on the hit list. So I was thinking that they were going to overreact, and as I usually do, I was looking for an upside move on an overreaction on something like this. But now, this morning, I thought that anything over this top candle right here, although it's not a very full candle, it's a spinning top or something like that. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's a little indecisive. This is basically what it is. And if it broke over the highs, I thought it was going to keep going a little bit higher. So now I took 50 shares long because my stop was going to be here at 236, and I got filled at 237.72 over the highs. As you can tell, it filled and then it kicked me right out here in the very next candle. So this candle right here, it just kicked me out. It did end up going higher, but it's very choppy and I would not have hit my target. So I would have needed to hit at least 240. As you can tell, it sold off for the rest of the remainder of the morning. So that was my first loss. That was $100 down on FDX. Then my next trade was VXX. So I actually ended up taking two trades on VXX. If you don't know what VXX is a ETN. So it mirrors the SPY. So what I'm gonna do, it does the exact opposite of the SPY, but it moves 2 times faster. So if the SPY goes down, VXX goes up. So now I was thinking the SPY fills the gap every single morning, so I mark out my SPY on here, and as soon as it went lower, meaning the VXX would go higher, I got in with a stop. Here, let me go to the right spot here. There we go. So I got in here with a stop. Where was my stop? 50.73. So it was $1 away. As you can see, the market was very choppy this morning. So it did go up, but it actually came right back down. So now what we've been doing in the past couple of weeks, so we've been consolidating and then just kind of picking a direction. So especially on Fridays, there's not a lot of momentum in the market, and it kind of takes a little bit for it to pick up. And then at that, the volume is actually not even very high because it is a Friday. I believe that traders are pretty lazy people, and they leave the office as soon as they can. So now it came up and it came right back. So, and then the market started chopping up and down. So I decided not to go into it. So I took that $100 loss on the first $100 loss on VXX, and then I watched this consolidation. And my thinking was that if it ended up, actually, hold on, let me go back to the spot here. So it ended up just kind of chopping back and forth, but I noticed that it started curling down and it started selling off. So it wasn't going any higher. It was failing to go higher. So I was thinking if we crossed this area right here, we were definitely going to break low of day, which was here. So that was actually my last trade on VXX. I'll go ahead and cover that now. So let's see here, VXX here. So I got in at 51. So my timing was, if we break this line here, means we're going to break this line here. And if we break this line here, this is low a day. That means that the market has picked a direction, and we're going to end up filling the gap, which is right. Oh, hold on, let me get that right. We're going to end up filling the gap, which is, come on, doesn't want to move. Well, whatever. So the gap is here. So I knew that we were going to fill this gap. I just didn't know when. So this was my trigger. And as you can see, it's chopping back and forth. and it broke here at 10:35. This is the very same candle I told you. So they mirror each other. So I went 100 shares long over 51, and with my stop down here at like 50, what was it, like 50.10 or something like that. Either way, somewhere around here. And as soon as this fell, this just accelerated. And I was able to get 2-to-1 out of this. And as soon as we started crossing this line, I knew that the selling off was going to slow down. So I went ahead and covered. So I made 2-to-1 on that and ended up covering my loss and making $100 profit on that. So as you can tell on here, we had a very hard bounce back. So it's a good thing that I covered down here, because this is something I haven't really covered in detail too much, but I know that the SPY closes the gap 80% of the times. So it closes the gap and then it kind of picks a direction whether to go up or down. It's been a little iffy the past couple of days since we've had such a large sell-off in the market, but still, whenever there is a relatively small gap and the market picks a direction in that way, I know that it's going to hit that spot, and then it'll make another decision on whether it wants to go up or down. So that was my call on VXX. Then, let's see here. Next one was CBOE. This is, man, they called this one out in the room, and I really regret not staying a little bit longer. So the call was right here under 105. So it was under 105. My stop was here over 107, so it was a 2-point stop, and so I only ended up going 50 shares short, because 50 times $2 is $100. So I went short here, and as you can see, it shortly covered that spot, and I got my, let's see here, I got $140 out of it, so 1.4 out of my risk. But if you zoom out a little bit, we actually ended up getting 8 points out of this. Yeah, so almost 8 points down here. So it literally just went straight down, broke 100, didn't even care, and it just kept on going. So could have made a couple hundred, but I decided not to be a little bit greedy. I was already down on the day, so 1.5 was fine. But that is something that I need to work on myself, is being able to stay on a little bit longer. I did stick around longer than what I was risking, but to go back and look at this and notice that there is absolutely no reason. It was 3 straight red candles all the way down to 98. There was no reason for me to get out of this. So should have stayed around a little bit longer, would have made a lot more money, but didn't want to be greedy, and that's definitely something I need to work on. So then that was my trade on CBOE, short at 105, covered at 102. Then SKX. So during this time when I took this trade, SKX was actually it was a little choppy here. I was a little skeptical getting into it. Somebody in the room might have had a little bit to do with it, but I took it here over 42. This is probably the one trade of the day that I had no business really being in, because these candles were just selling off. I didn't expect it to come back up here to 42.50. So was it realistic for me to hit 50 cents? No, it wasn't. So I really shouldn't have been in this. I got in over 52 and it never really came back. So I ended up getting kicked out at 41.46. I ended up losing $100, $135 on that actually. Now, short on Tiva. So Tiva was also on my shorts list from yesterday. So it's something that I did not put on the list, but it was gapping down slightly. But I have traded Tiva before, and I know the way that it trades, so I decided to, right here, draw a line, basically. Here, this is basically how I saw it. I was expecting to see a lower high and then possibly crack 18. So I shorted it as high as I could. I ended up shorting it at 18.13 with a stop over here at 18.23, so I took 1,000 shares short. And I was expecting it to come down here to 18 at least and test it. So as you can tell on here, it came down, and during this time, I actually went back and looked at how Tiva traded yesterday. So if you see, it gapped down. It basically did the exact same thing, but it doesn't really quite break down. It just headed a little lower. So it just bounced, and then it actually ended up coming higher. So instead of me waiting for 18 to break, I decided just to take the whole thing. and as you can see on here, it broke 18, but it actually came right back. So it would have taken, I would not have been able to take as much as I would. So I literally almost bottom ticked it here at the moment. I took it out at 1802. So I definitely did the right thing by getting out. I ended up making $110 on Tiva. A little bit more than I was risking, but that's good for me because that brought me back almost even on the day. And then I took that trade on VXX and I ended up positive on the day. Ended up making a very small day. It's $122, but it's better than definitely being red. So I'm going to go ahead and be done for the day. A little bit longer than an hour and a half, and I shall be done. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions on any of the trades that I took today, make sure to leave it down in the comment section below. If you guys have not joined our Facebook group, make sure to join. The link is also in the description, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.